You're watching The Blue Line on Emergency Times. Declan Keogh is my name, and if you're on social media, please use the hashtag The Blue Line. Now, some fire service news. Clare County Fire and Rescue Service has been awarded the ISO 45001 Occupational Health and Safety Management System accreditation, and this is the world's first international standard for OH&S. Pat Flynn is reporting in the Clare Herald that the ISO standard provides a framework to increase safety, reduce workplace risks, and enhance health and safety and well-being at work, enabling an organisation to continually improve its occupational health and safety performances. It was introduced in 2018 and replaces the previous standard of occupational health and safety standard that the fire service has received since 2014. Clare's Chief Fire Officer Adrian Kelly told Pat Flynn, Clare County Fire and Rescue Service works closely with staff and contractors to ensure health and safety management systems are in place to aid employee well-being in the organisation. The transformation to ISO 45001 means the organisation is internationally recognised in an elite category of business, one of a small number of fire services that have attained this standard in Ireland. Now, last week we had spoken to Jonathan Forbes from Dublin Fire Brigade, who was promoting the Movember charity campaign, which firefighters are involved in. This week we've been asked to mention the Grovember charity. A number of Sligo firefighters are taking part in the Sligo Cancer Support Centre's Grovember campaign to raise vital funds for their outstanding services. Some of the firefighters will be sporting some questionable looking moustaches for the month of November. And firefighters Simon Costello, Jason McLaughlin, David Lynch, Mike Ryan and Kevin Brogan, all looking rather dashing, sporting their facial hair. That's what it says here. They're having a bit of fun there in Sligo, and you can follow them on their Facebook page, Sligo City Firefighters. Cork City Fire Brigade are thanking the Green Frog Cafe workers who popped over to the crew from Amber Watch on Friday with coffees. The crew were just finished with the river rescue, at the Mardyke Walk, where two swift water rescue technicians entered the water and brought the patients to safety, and the National Ambulance Service treated the patients and transported them to hospital. Now, going from Cork and Clare and from Sligo to, we have one more. Limerick Fire and Rescue Service are holding their annual Deceased Members Mass on Friday the 20th, that's next week, from 5:45 in Limerick. Now, due to the current COVID-19 restrictions, the usual arrangements for their annual Deceased Members Mass for Limerick Fire and Rescue Service and the Munster Regional Control Centre cannot go ahead this year. Instead, the Mass can be viewed online at limerickcathedral.ie or churchservices.tv/Limerick Cathedral. Now, the Hydra Command and Development Suite at Tipperary Fire and Rescue Service, it's an immersive training and learning tool for the emergency services. It uses realistic simulated incidents to help senior officers and key personnel to practice decision making and incident commands. Joining me now to tell us more about this is Tipperary's Chief Fire Officer Dave Carroll. Dave, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Declan. Delighted to be here.
Dave, this Hydra suite is up for an award for the Local Authorities Chambers Ireland Award. But what's the background to the suite, and I suppose how long is it established in Tipperary?
I suppose the background to the suite is we started looking at this about 5 years ago now. It was back in 2015 when myself and a number of the officers here paid a visit across the water to West Midlands Fire and Rescue Service to have a look at some of the packages that were out there and the training solutions, the virtual reality or the immersive type solutions. And we spent a couple of days in West Midlands. They had a number of different solutions out there. So Hydra immediately jumped out at us as the ideal one. It's, as you said out there, it's an immersive simulator as such. It's not very high tech by any means. It's not, it's quite realistic. And what it does, and the reason we really went after this, was it offers us an opportunity to train our people and to train people across the country in how to, I suppose, resolve and react to real life incidents, but without having that body of experience or without going out into the yard as we would have done heretofore, setting up scenarios, and they take an awful lot of time. They're not repeatable as such, whereas what we have now is we have a suite of incidents that we're developing the whole time, that we can bring people in. They're repeatable, they're clean, they're doing them in their shirts and ties, for want of a better word, and we're able to exercise them and interrogate the exercising of them, and it's really a really positive learning tool. So, it started in 2015. We went live. There was a lot of work to get it to the stage where we could go live. And we went live in kind of very early 2018, late 2017, and we were running courses full tilt, I suppose, from January 2018, which is, 2.5 years ago.
What type of incidents or scenarios is it used for, Dave? I know we're always looking at the major emergencies or the major incidents, but what have you used them for? What's the scenarios?
Well, from everything from the most basic chimney fire type incident right up to the major emergency. And the reason for that is that, we're catering for officers from the fire service, from the newest promoted officer, and indeed even for those people who are going for promotion, who are joining the ranks at substation officer in the retained service or the full-time service, right up to chief fire officer, and then out into the wider local authority, up as far as chief executives. We've had county managers, chief executives in the suite, exercising on major emergency management and severe weather type events. So really, we're covering a huge range of staff, and on that basis, we have a fantastic range now of scenarios and exercises built, and we're building on that the whole time.
And I saw on the video there, which is overlaying while we're talking, but there's other agencies, the principal response agencies primarily, and I see John Ferris from the Garda Press Office there as well. So obviously the national bodies are looking at this as a good tool for training as well.
Yes, I mean, look, the facility in Clonmel is one of only two in the country, the other one being in the Garda College in Templemore. And that's largely, I suppose by virtue of the numbers and what have you, that's held almost exclusively for Gardaí. Our suite in Clonmel is being used by multiple agencies. It's primarily a fire service suite where we own it, we run it, but where we have Gardaí, HSE staff, Irish Coast Guard staff, and we're looking at broadening that out even further. But at this point, we've had staff from every local authority our fire service in the country into the Hydra suite in Clonmel, which is a really positive statement in a little over 2 years.
Absolutely, and I suppose more or less it was designed maybe for the senior management, but how, and you mentioned about chimney fires, they're the firefighters on the ground, but how would the firefighters, I suppose, benefit from that itself?
Yeah, well, it's probably not just designed for fire service management or senior management, really. It's a big part of it was the more junior officers and the new officers coming in, because look, the number of incidents and the complexity of the incidents that firefighters and fire officers on the ground, particularly in the retained service, are coming across, it's diminishing. Thankfully, that's a good thing. We're not having as many fires and stuff like that. So the opportunity for these people to exercise their decision-making capacity, really, and to build up an experiential background is diminishing. And what we're trying to do is replicate that here as best we can and give them the opportunity to come in, make decisions, make mistakes. We'll all make mistakes in here, but there isn't a consequence. The consequence is it's a learning outcome, and we build on better. So it's benefiting everybody. And if these officers are going back out making better decisions, which we're confident they are, that benefits everybody in the service and the wider public, because we're getting a better resolution to the fires and the road traffic collisions and everything else that comes with it.
And I suppose, setting aside from its training purpose, Dave, has it ever been or could it be used in a real incident, in a real major emergency? Say, for example, a major incident in Tipperary or a neighbouring county. Is it set up that it can actually be used as a virtual major incident centre?
It's not, to be honest with you. We have separate local coordination rooms and infrastructure built around that. That's not to say it couldn't be into the future, but look, we're concentrating at the minute on building the really valuable training tool that it is. The other bit may well come, but it is being used to exercise all of the facets of major emergency management. But as a tool to actually run an incident or something like that. No, that's not what it's designed for, to be honest.
And in terms of the cost, Dave, how much is there an annual cost or a license for it, or how much is the cost?
Look, yeah, there is. There are costs associated with it. The capital cost was supported almost in its entirety by the National Directorate for Fire and Emergency Management, and ongoing costs and stuff are managed by Tipperary Fire and Rescue Service with great support from our parent local authority, Tipperary County Council. So, and there's a fee associated with training, which is to cover the cost of the centre. It's not about making a profit out of this. This is entirely just to benefit the fire service nationally, and that's what we're doing with it.
Absolutely. And I suppose in terms of the award itself, on Twitter, I saw Tipperary Fire tweeting that they've been shortlisted. So in terms of the Chambers Ireland Awards, it's great to be shortlisted for the Excellence in Local Government Awards. Do we know what sort of criteria was put forward for the nomination aspect of it that, I suppose, grabbed their attention?
Not particularly. We're in there under the innovation, and I suppose that's exactly what it speaks to. It's innovation and training. This is something entirely new in the Irish Fire Service, the way we're training officers. So it really, I think it speaks for itself. The video that we have there shows, it's hard to explain it in a forum like this or any other forum without people getting their hands into it. But maybe the video gives some feel for it. It is innovative. It's cutting edge. There's no two ways about it. We're really, really proud of it, and we're proud to be associated with the award. But look, the award is, it may come or it may not, but it won't take anything from the centre. The centre is, the feedback we get from people who come in there across all the ranks has just been fantastic, and that's the most satisfying thing about it.
Absolutely. Okay. I suppose, Dave, before I let you go, over the Halloween was a sad and disappointing time, I suppose, for Tipperary Fire and Rescue Service. One of your appliances were damaged and there was some sort of assaults geared towards firefighters. Do you know if any arrests or action has been taken by the Gardaí in relation to that particularly?
Look, the Gardaí are certainly following it up. As I say, it is disappointing more than anything. These people, retained firefighters in particular, they're out there living in the community. They're of the community. They're only serving that same community in a very tight area. And to think that they'd be subject to this by what obviously is a tiny minority of the community out there, but at the same time, very disappointing and very dangerous. I mean, we were very lucky. We had a bottle come through, break a side window of a fire appliance, and with people in the appliance. Now, I mean, I don't have to go into that, what that could have resulted in. Thankfully, we didn't have any injuries, but really it's by the grace of God,
Okay. All right. Dave Carroll, Chief Fire Officer, Tipperary County Council and Fire Service. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Declan.